Hello, dividend executives. Welcome back. The stock market is open. So you already know we're buying stocks, we're adding assets to the portfolio, but more importantly, today we are going over now month 9 of this series where we have used margin in Robinhood to buy ourselves high yield dividend stocks. We collect income, we reinvest that income, and we continue to grow our dividend snowball. So that's where we're at. We're a month 9 in. I want to jump into it. How much we paid in margin? Was it worth it? How are the stocks doing? Stocks/ETFs, I should say. And where are we sitting, right? We have a massive buffer in the account. The portfolio has come back significantly over the last couple of weeks as the market has been rebounding. And we slowly but surely continue to decrease the amount of margin we have. And so I want to jump into the portfolio and I want to take a look at that. And of course, as we do every single Wednesday, I want to take a look at the dividends that are coming in on this account. So just a quick recap on the account. We sold a BITO put today for $13 to try and get back some of the shares we let go on Friday. Only one lot though, we did let 2 go. TSW came in at $13.82. Of course, we have our reoccurring buys every single day of SHD and VTI. And then we deposit our $100 every single week, as we have for over 2 years now. We have not missed a single week of depositing $100 into the portfolio, which also decreases our margin that we are lending from Robinhood. So we have some payments that came in on Friday. QDTE XDTE YMAX, massive payments there. Collected a couple $100 for last week. I think our 4 pillars paid us about $274 last week. This week should be paying us around $237. And then we have TSLY that's going to be coming in on Friday as well. So we'll go over those dividends as well. But more importantly, we're going to be focusing on a little bit of the margin today as we get into the spreadsheet. MSTY came in on Friday for $237.34. Massive payout there, and we are getting closer and closer to getting to house money on that position. And then we had BITO get called away. So that was the goal. It's always been the goal. We talked about it last video. I mean, I could be totally wrong here, but with Bitcoin around 103 to 105,000, I thought it was a good move to get a little bit less exposure to crypto. We already have a lot of crypto in this dividend portfolio with CONY and CONL and MSTY. And so I ended up deciding to sell the 200 shares of BITO. We booked a couple $100 there on the swing trade. And of course, we've made almost $2,000 in dividends on BITO. So we'll see if we can get it back for a cheaper price. If not, no worries. We'll continue to just collect the put income there. So that's the update on the account over the last week. There's our payout we got this month from BITO for $108. And I just want to talk about the account. So we're sitting about $39,613. We are pretty much flat for the day. For the week, we are up 12.84%. For the month, we're up 8.5. Let's see, 8.5 grand. So $8,500, 27.56. Year to date, we are finally break even, which is good to see. A lot of people have been seeing it on X and on YouTube are finally getting closer to that break even point for the year. And SPY is as well. So that's good to see. 1 year up 26% all time since we opened this account. The graph's a little bit skewed because this account was opened back up in, I want to say like 2015 or 2016, and then it just sat dormant. So you can see here, I think, yeah, there's just no data there. So yeah, it sat open several years ago, and then you can see the recent data over the last 2 years. So let's jump into it. Buying power 30,527. We have some puts on the table. We have some calls on the table. We sold the Connell calls. Gosh, we sold this a few weeks ago. Yeah, for $60. So the goal is to just get out of it. Connell has gone absolutely berserk with the addition to the S&P 500. So I'm hoping that this stays up by Friday and we can lose these shares and get back to cash. The reason for that is because obviously we sell puts for income in this account. We ended up getting assigned, which is a little bit outside of the dividend strategy for this account. And so we just have been aggressive on the call side. So I hope these get called away. And as long as Connell stays up above the 23 strike, these will go away. And we will get that $4,600 worth of cash back, which reduces our margin interest and margin amount as well. So that is always good to see. So that's where we're sitting, up 59% this week on Connell. So we should be letting those shares go. And then BITO, you can see there we got paid the $13 there. So Bitcoin's trading at 103,000. This is where we have our money split up, right? SHD, VTI, JEPQ, all the DTEs, which we're going to be talking about today. And then YMAX TSW, I think this one's actually back to break even. Yeah, we're pretty much back to break even. So let's have a heck of a week, up 25% on TSW. And of course, we've collected a bunch of dividends there as well. So good to see Tesla rallying. And then we have our 4 payback funds, which we're trying to break even with. And that meaning when I say break even, I mean if I spend $1,000 to buy 100 shares, I want $1,000 worth of dividends, and then we are free and clear full house money from there. So we're trying to get to that point on those 400 shares, and then the Connell shares should get called away. No problem. They're valued at $5,500 as of right now. So we'll let those go and we'll reduce the margin. When we're talking about margin, let's take a look at it, right? So right now we have buying power. Total margin in the account, 47,000. Margin used is 14,493. We were sitting closer to that $18,000, $19,000 mark, but that is one of the reasons why I let BITO go, because it just wasn't worth it. Let's reduce the margin. Let's reduce the payment, even though it's so small. Let's reduce that, and let's reduce our exposure to crypto. So that's what we did. Margin used, about 14,500. Low risk in the account. We have a $20,000 buffer, or 52% buffer there, so that's nice to see. And then if we look at the interest paid on this, we're talking about, so it's at a 5.75% rate. We have 1K that is interest free because of Robinhood Gold, and we're talking about $2.15 a day. And we ended up paying, I want to say it was about 88. Let's go back here to margin, $88.19. So our largest interest payment since November of 2024. So last month was 78. This month was 88.19 from April 7th to May 7th. 18,404 was the average margin used at 5.75% interest rate. So that was taken straight out of the account. So that's where we're at on the margin. Before we jump into the spreadsheet and the nitty gritty, I do want to just take a look at some of the dividends that we are getting this week. First and foremost, XDT, QDT, and RDT. We have XDT at 24 cents. QDT coming in really low at the 17.9 cents. RDT at 23.6 cents. So that is our DTEs. And then let's take a look at the yield max payouts. We do have a couple that are important here on this channel. And that is definitely going to be TSLY at 76. Still under the average. I believe the average is around $1.10. So we're coming in at 76 cents here, which is up from last month. Last month was 65 cents, so it's good to see a little bit of raise there. And then we have YMAX coming in with a massive 19 cents. This one's huge to see. Love to see that coming. And that's where we're sitting for that. So lots of dividends that are going to be coming in this week, but those are the most important ones for me. The DTEs, the YMAX, and TSLY as well. So those are those. But let's jump into the spreadsheet. This is where it's important. This is the data on the margin and how the dividend account is doing overall, right? You guys know this series is built off of QDTE, XDTE, and RDTE. These are the ones that I'm using margin, and we are trying to collect premium and see if it is worth it. So let's jump into the data when we're talking about these 3 DTE funds, right? So what we have is we have a month. This is month 9. We paid $88.19 worth of interest. The total dividends received between these funds were $620.80, and that is just taking the 4 weeks that happened between the period of April 7th and May 7th, and then for all of the DTEs, you can see the formula down there at the bottom. And then what did we do? Well, we took it and we prorated it, right? Because we did not use the whole $23,644 worth of interest or worth of margin. We only used about 77% of that at the 18,404. So our prorated dividends is about $482.22. And then, of course, we take that number, subtract the $88.19, and then we get our total of the $395.03. So was it worth it? Yeah, really good month. $395 in the green after we paid the interest. Obviously, we had some massive pullbacks when it comes to stocks, but they have rallied over the last month, so it's nice to see that. A lot of stuff can change in the last month, and we have seen that, and most of these are back to break even or even above. So we'll go over that a little bit here in a second, but it's at least good to see this, at least good to see the numbers here, and whether it was worth it or not. We are obviously making much more income than the interest paid, and we're continuing to reinvest those. So as they dipped, we got better prices, we lowered our cost basis, and we increased our income. When we're talking about the 4 pillars, which is including YMAX and the DTEs, last week we got $274. The week prior to that, 242. And so far between all of these since inception, we've collected almost $6,800 worth of income, right? So YMAX, we're sitting at about 3.8% total return. We are finally green on RDT after this recent rip. So we're about 0.8% in the green. XDTE, we are at 5.57% total return. We've collected $1,719 worth of dividend income, and we've dripped ourselves 35 shares. And then QDT, the granddaddy, up 7.71% or $724. We've collected $1,966 so far in dividend income, and we've dripped ourselves 50 shares. So our shares have bought ourselves 50 more shares. And then, of course, you can see the math there in this column. Just slowly but surely, our shares have gone from obviously 57 back on 8.2 all the way up to 235. Once we get to the 250 share mark, I am turning drip off on all these, similar to how we did on YMAX. And we will be turning it off at the 500 mark, and we will be constantly stopping the reinvestment, and we will just be paying back our our share costs, right? So once we get to the 250 mark, it'll be something similar to how I have this here with the YMAX payoff, where every single dividend that we receive is going to slowly but surely pay it down. So that's where we're sitting when it comes to those. When it comes to the 4 pillars, we talked about it a little bit. We're at $516.79 worth of dividend income so far this month, and we're only on the 14th of this month. So we're looking really good. We actually have 5 payouts that are going to be coming in May. So it's probably going to be a record-breaking month. We still have 3 more payouts to come, depending on how things go. Obviously, Robinhood usually pays out a little bit later. So sometimes the payouts come a little bit later, usually on Monday. And that's where we're sitting for those. So the 4 pillars are continuing constantly paying each and every single week. And we're slowly but surely building the dividend income. So you can see a little bit where all the dividends are coming in this month. Obviously, we've had some awesome payments when it comes to our yield max positions. BITO had a strong payment. MSTY had an absolutely crazy payment at the 237. And then TSLY will have a pretty decent payment coming up here. TSW continues to do well in the portfolio, especially since Tesla has been running. We are back in the green on the share position, as we saw. And we're looking for potentially a record-breaking month. Our biggest month so far is the $1,639 that we collected in December. And with some extra days in this month, it's possible that we might get there. But you can see that the averages are continuing to pick up in this portfolio. And we're just staying consistent with it, right? Monthly goal of $1,618. We are about 60% of the way to our May goal, and we're about 27% of the way to our 2025 goal. This is the payouts that are going to be coming this week. We are talking about QDTE at 42.61, XDT at 49.78, RDT at 49.35, YMAX at $95.50, which is obviously not being reinvested since we hit the 500 share mark. So that'll just go straight back into the account. And then TSLY is not being reinvested, and that's $76. So $313 worth of payments coming in on Friday, and that'll increase our number, right? So it'll take us to about the $1,200, almost $1,300 figure, and the dividends continue to stack. When we look at the total, QDT is leading the pack at $1,966 worth of dividend income, and then BITO at $1,807, YMAX at $1,723, and these are just slowly but surely stacking up. When you break down, we're talking 48% from yield max, 35% from round hill, and then 16% from other. And we're looking really good. From 2023 to 2024 to 2025, you can see a huge amount of growth, right? Especially from last year, if at 334, we've already done 3 times that amount so far, and we're only halfway through the month. And it seems like we're starting to put a really solid baseline of over $1,000 every single month in this portfolio, which is awesome to see, especially as we continue to bring down our margin, right? As we slowly bring down our margin, can we keep it in the 4-figure range? That will be the test of time, but we will continue to add more capital. We'll continue to reinvest every single premium we receive. And of course, as always, I take zero money out of this. I don't need any of this money. I'm going to continue adding more money to it. And the hope is that in the next 5-10 years, this will pay my mortgage or pay me, I don't know, let's say about $5,000 a month. That is the goal, and we are building towards it. And as the portfolio gets bigger, obviously we are shift things around. Right now we are super, super heavy into high yield dividend ETFs, dividend income ETFs. And as time goes on, we will be less and less into those, right? We'll hit our share count goals. We'll turn those suckers on payouts every single week or every single month. We'll take that money, we'll reinvest it into more growth assets like VTI and SCHD. Although SCHD has not been paying or not been yielding much of growth as of late, VTI, of course, as always, is going to grow as the entire stock market grows. And so we might throw a little bit more in that as the portfolio grows. So that's the update for the week. That is the update on all the dividends that are going to be coming in on the DTEs this week. And yeah, things are looking really good. We're breaking records. We are slowly but surely building the dividend snowball that is going to be unstoppable. And we're doing it all here together. So appreciate everybody as always. Hope you guys are enjoying those passive dividend paychecks that come in each and every single week. Hopefully you'll like at least seeing the transparency here as we go through this journey and we utilize a little bit of Robinhood's money to build this portfolio a little bit faster. And appreciate all of you. Don't forget to drop a like. Thanks so much. Happy investing. We'll catch you next time.